Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Row of Gilead here, coming at you with another guide for our min-max series. Today, we've got the min-max for Black Cat. So, if you're new to these free-to-play guides essentially are ways to help you as a new player, unlocking all of these legendary characters with the minimum amount of investment. This way, you're not over-investing into certain teams or certain toons that are not going to get you a lot of use in other game modes, and this way you can maximize your efficiency with your roster and your resources while also pushing for these characters as soon as humanly possible. Now today again, we're coming at you with the Black Cat guide. Now Black Cat is super duper important for the arena meta. Secret defenders, especially for early to mid game players, are going to be a huge boon to your roster because, as you know, Arena is the only way to earn power cores free to play. So if you want to have a good setup for your roster and for your account, you gotta make sure you're able to smash an Arena. Now, me personally, not my favorite game mode, but what I will tell you is as you add Arena specific characters to your roster and really get them geared up and into action, they make a huge difference. To give you an example, before Black Cat and Secret Defenders, my main account never was able to get into the top 100 in my Arena shard. Not once. Since the inception of Black Cat, and of course Toons like Apocalypse and Super Scroll added to my roster, I've been holding the top 50 for the last couple months, and I really haven't had to struggle or put in much effort to do so, and Black Cat is a very key part of that strategy. So let's talk about the toons we need to get her, the teams and T4s, all the packs that we used, and we'll go through the nodes one by one like in our other videos and just give you some general tips on how I was able to make it through using these toons. So let's walk through the nodes real fast. Node 1 is unrestricted, and as you know from all our other videos, we love using Hive Mind. Now, as you can see, my Hive Mind team is still pretty weak. I have 2 characters at level 70, everyone else is 65, gear tier 12, and this was awesome. I mean, I haven't upgraded this team since we started these Scourges and Pacts, and they've been able to put in work still at this low level in Cosmic Crucible, in, Dark Dimension, anywhere I can use them. This team has been stacked. So keeping on using Hive Mind, that's been the theme. Another team that we've used in almost every single unlock guide is this Sinister 6 composition. Sinister Superior 6 are a fantastic team in numerous game modes, and you're going to invest in them for your villain nodes, you're going to invest in them for other Scourges and Pacts, and again, as you can see, they don't need a ton of investment. Now, we did have to take a couple of these characters level 75, most notably Doc Ock. We took him up to level 75. We have his healing ability, his special, and his passive maxed out. And we got him up to Blue ISO 2. And this was necessary for him to survive some of the later nodes. And then same thing with Lizard. We needed Lizard to be a little thicker with 3 Cs so that he could take on a bunch of those hits in those Sinister 6 nodes and survive. But everyone else we were able to leave at level 70, and we made it through no problem. Moving on, we've got the Mystic Villain nodes. Now, here for the first round, we used Absorbing Man, Hela, Doctor Strange Heartless, Morgan Le Fay, and Agatha. Now, we took these 3, Morgan Le Fay, Doctor Strange, and Agatha, to 75 because they were struggling to stay alive, but also because you need them for Apocalypse, right? They have to be able to hit gear tier 17, gear tier 17, level 90. That's where the 9 comes from. So, putting that investment in them, you're going to need them for Apocalypse. They're easily the 3 best members of the Darkhold team, so not really a wasted investment. Again, we threw some Blue ISO on Agatha and Morgan Le Fay just to kind of beef them up a little bit. We had Morgan's ult at max level, and then same thing with Doctor Strange Heartless. All of his basic, special, ultimate were 6, passive was 4. And then for the second set of Villain Mystic nodes, we did lose Hela in our gameplay, and Absorbing Man was really weak, and this team does not have a consistent way to heal, so we threw in Teen Loki and regular Loki. Now, they did have to go to 75. They were a little too weak to hold their own, but by looking at their abilities, you can see we didn't need a ton of other investment outside of the levels, and they're both part of the Bifrost raid team, which is going to be cycling out of the meta sometime in 2024, but as of the time of making this video in June, they're still necessary for the higher level incursion raids, so they're a really solid bet. They're going to help you on your raid teams, and then, they help you for this event. Finally, we've got the global controllers. Now, these were painful, and if you've watched our 7-star unlock guide, you'll know that this is also the painful part in the 7-star. The rest of the stuff, once you get them at level in the right gear, pretty doable. these nodes are always going to be the toughest. So we made sure we took all these characters level 75, and believe me when I tell you, we spent a couple days labbing this node, trying to do, just one of them at 75, just two of them at 75, a little gear here, a little gear there, and it just was not going through. So we're going to take an extra second, we're going to walk through all these characters, where their ability tiers are at, just so you kind of know. Again, they're all level 75, gear tier 14. For Emma, we maxed out the ultimate and the passive. The other two abilities were at level 6. For Moonstone, now Moonstone was pretty important because we want her to be able to stun and mind control folks, right? So we had her ultimate at 6, special at 6, passive at 4. Moving on, we had Magneto. Now Magneto was another big one. You want 6664 straight down. We did take him to Blue ISO 3 for the little bit of the damage and the critical chance buff. Then we moved on to Omega Red. We maxed out his ultimate and his passive because we do end up using the World at War pact, which means all war abilities are active. So having him beefed up, his passive gives him an extra 30% health on spawn. Sorry, 50% max health. That was the upgrade, was 50%. And it gives him all these other fun bonuses as well. Fill speed bar by 15%. On turn, gain 10% damage up. So he's got a lot of good war bonuses that we needed. So we upgraded the passive and the ultimate to max, and we left the special at 6, basic at 5. Finally, we had Scarlet Witch. Now, Scarlet Witch is one of those characters that you really don't want to have to put more in than necessary because she's not really useful outside of very specific situations and outside of the Darkhold team. In fact, she is the first member on the Darkhold team that gets dropped for either Dormammu or Quicksilver. However, in this instance, she was a very valuable healer. She was the only person we had that fit the criteria to consistently heal this team, and she was necessary in making sure they were able to survive the nodes. So, again, making sure her special is maxed out and her passive helps too, at least getting it to level 4, so that this way, you have the chance to spread negative effects, except for stun. And then she has, she's a little thicker, right? She can take the hits. Her heal is based off of her HP percentage, so she can give more healing. So it's very, very necessary to have her up a bit more. Now, again, you're going to have to get her to level 90 Blue ISO 5 for Apocalypse. So this investment, it sucks, it feels bad, but you know what? At least you can get some extra use out of her while you're continuing to grind for Apocalypse. And, that's one less tune that you have to bring up from scratch to make this node work. Lastly, we had Brawlers. Now, Brawlers were pretty simple. We had everyone at 70 with the exception of Red Hulk, who was at 75. Again, Horseman character, needed for Apocalypse. No harm in upgrading him. If you're still struggling, he would be the first character on the team I continue to upgrade. Again, just because you're going to need him for Red Hulk. So making sure that you're... I'm sorry, not Red Hulk. You're going to need him for Apocalypse. So making sure that, you're going through this, making sure your team's min-maxed. You're going to need Red Hulk. So if you have the Red Hulk from our Red Hulk guide, beef him up. He's super useful. We used Quicksilver for the first node. It would seem to be helpful. I was having trouble when I used Deathpool the first time on the first node, so Quicksilver seemed to make it a lot easier, and you'll notice my Quicksilver is not very big. He's 2 yellows. He's the minimum investment, so you don't need to put a ton into him. I did put, we got to make sure his almost maxed out. We didn't even have the max Meteor Crash, though, so that's helpful to know. You don't have to have him all the way maxed out. Same thing with Quicksilver. He had a lot of ability growth room there. Vulture, we used for Sinister 6, so, you want him big. But again, you can see I didn't have to invest in a lot of these abilities for these guys to make them work. Nightcrawler is another one. Again, we had some abilities sitting around, but he kind of smashes because he's got newer stats. I had taken Iron Man and Infinity War in here because I thought he taunted on his own. He does not. He needs somebody from Pegasus to help him proc that, so... You don't have to take Infinity War Iron Man, but he is, again, a newer tune, more modern stats, so he is going to be helpful, and I'd be surprised if, since they have an Infinity War Thor and an Infinity War Iron Man, that we wouldn't get an Infinity War Cap, and then there's going to be some Infinity War team later on down the line, so he's not a terrible investment, and you need him for the Pegasus raid team, which is going to be your tech raid team going forward into mid-2025, so not a bad investment there either. On the final Brawler node, we did swap out Quicksilver for Deathpool. There's a ton of multiple men, so killing them, it'll proc Deathpool, she'll kill more adds, and it'll go pretty quick and pretty seamless. You don't have to put too much thought into it. You just got to kind of slow roll that node a little bit, but we'll talk about that more when we come to it. So, that's the teams. That's the T4s that we had on them. And again, 75 was the max, and really the only team that really needs the 75 are going to be your global control or your global controllers and your mystic villains, right? Those two are going to need the most love and support. Everything else, the bonuses and the packs kind of build into those teams, so you don't need to level them as much. Again, just kind of brief run through: 70 or under for your Hive Mind, 70 to 75 for your Sinister Six, 75 recommended. You could go as low as 70 for some of the Toons on Mystic Villain, 75 for all your global controllers. Just bite the bullet. You're gonna be very happy that you did. Don't be me and spend 2 days over 6 hours beating your head against the wall trying to figure out which of these characters to take to 75. All of these characters are useful in some manner or another. You have Horseman characters in here. You have Cosmic Crucible characters in here. You have all kinds of important Toons, utility or otherwise, on this setup. Take them to 75, upgrade their abilities, and go hard. Don't stress it. This is the team that if you're going to overinvest, these are the characters you need to overinvest in, okay? And finally, we got your Brawlers. And again, 75 to 70, nothing crazy. Only one of them at 75. So that's your kind of min-max investment, what you're looking at on your Toons. Now, let's go into the event itself, and let's talk about the packs we used to make sure that we were able to get our score. Now, of course, you could push a little higher. You could add more packs and go for 600,000 points. But again, this is a min-max guide. This is just trying to get you that Black Cat as quickly as humanly possible so that you can get into Arena and start smashing. And we're just going to run through. We did difficulty 5. You'll notice 497, 950 is our expected score. With your run bonuses, you're going to get 504,958. And again, I lost a couple Toons, so if you keep those Toons alive, your bonus is going to be even higher. But essentially, you're going to clear that 500k threshold, no problem, okay? So starting from the top, we used Experimental Serum 2, enemies gain 20% max health. We used Hired Help, summoned characters gain 20% max health. Sinister Symbiotes on spawn, non-minion city villain characters gain the Sinister 6 trait, and city bio hero characters gain the Symbiote trait. We use Snake Eyes. This is one of my favorites. I use this one almost every time it's up. On spawn, player characters gain increased crit hit. Enemy characters gain increased crit damage. I love the name of this one, Brawl Room Blast. All brawler characters gain additional critical hit damage, and all blaster characters gain additional critical hit chance. And then finally, World at War. All war abilities are active. Now, again, you could add other tiers, other nodes. Some people just like turning them all on, using their teams and just smashing through. It works. You can get a much higher score. But again, simple, easiest, efficient min-max unlock. This is what we used. So let's go into the nodes and let's kind of see what's where. First node was a joke. If you can't beat this with your Hive Mind at the same level as mine, I don't know what to tell you. You might need to go back to Marvel Church. You might need to go back to MSF school. The only tough part about this is Morgan Le Fay, and again, you should be steamrolling these guys so hard by the time she spawns, she's a non-issue. Now, that said, same thing with this Sinister 6 node. I prefer when it comes to nodes like this, where you have a couple problems but not many, focusing out Cloak and Dagger, making sure they're not going to blind you, making sure they're not going to crit you into oblivion, and then taking care of Morgan Le Fay and Spider Weaver. Everyone else is kind of a non-issue. It is important to note that the Spider Women will drop a ton of debuffs on you, and if you let Deathpool spawn in, and these three will spawn in like almost at the exact end. Like if there's 1 or 2 characters left, that's when these 3 spawn in, and then Deathpool is your priority. Once Deathpool is gone, you can sit there and take the hits and kind of refresh your abilities. You can use your basics. If you needed to heal a little earlier in the node with Doc Ock and you needed to get that back, this is your time. Once you take out Deathpool, just basic your way through Gwenpool. That should give you enough turns to regen all your abilities and be ready for the next Sinister 6 node. Moving on, Mystic Villains. These all suck. I hate to break it to you. These are all tough. I went for Doc Ock and Swarms first. Basically, your Sinister 6 gotta go. You're gonna keep getting stuck behind Bishop. You also have to watch out for Baron Zemo's blinds. You have to watch out for Dazzler's ability, block and blind ability. So this was a tough one. However, again, if you smash the center of this hard, that should take out your Baron Zemo, a couple of your Swarms, and it'll get your Doc Ock low. Once you have Doc Ock out, you focus the Magics and the Dazzler. By the time you're done with that, the Madeline Pryor and the Phoenix will drop in. You should have no magic to worry about. So you just kind of work your way around keeping your team alive. Again, this is not an easy one. If you're of my mind and you want to drop Hela for Teen Loki so you have the heal here, give it a try. It can't hurt, but you just got to make sure that Teen Loki, if you do need him here for heals, is in good shape and good refreshes for the second Mystic Villain node, because that's the truly challenging one. Moving ahead, Global Controllers. This one is a showstopper. You have an Icarus, you have a Mighty Thor, a Valkyrie, and a Silver Surfer, and off rip. You have like this 4, 5, 6, 7. These 7 off rip. What I found works. You're gonna take either your Moonstone or your what's the other one? Yeah, Moonstone. Oh, and Omega Red. That's the other one. So you're gonna stun either Icarus or Silver Surfer with Moonstone, and you're gonna ability block the other one with Omega Red. Once they're tied up, you want to smash out Icarus as fast as possible. Once Icarus is gone, hopefully you can take Mighty Thor, or Valkyrie with you in that pursuit, because once you knock out 2 or 3 of these guys, then Cersei comes in, and if Cersei comes in and Icarus is still alive, then they get their bonuses off each other, and they are much, much harder to kill. I will tell you right now, I was able to survive an Icarus ult, so as long as you have decent stats on your characters, you can tank 1 Icarus ult before Cersei comes in, slow roll it a little bit, but once you take out your Icarus Cersei, your priorities are Silver Surfer and your Asgardians. Once they're gone, make sure you watch out for the Elsa Bloodstones and the Ghost Rider. The Ghost Rider is going to ping you anytime you kill somebody, so making sure you take him out before you make a bunch of kills is important. Or what I ended up doing in my run, I was able to get 3 or 4 of these characters really weak, hit them with an AoE and take out all 3 or 4 at once, and then this way I didn't have to worry about the pings from Ghost Rider. Okay, moving ahead, we got the next Brawler node. Now this one wasn't too bad. This one was not too bad. Again, we kind of took in Deathpool. We were able to ping out the Multiple Man, and roll through this pretty easily. When you get to the second half, when MLF spawns in, you want to make sure that Wong is already gone, so that this way you're not getting stuck behind Wong. And it's going to sound odd, but make sure you target Minerva first. If you go Minerva, then Gambit, you'll be in good shape. But what happens is, if you don't go after Minerva, she's going to revive whatever the first person you killed was. And it's probably going to be a Multiple Man or a Wong. And what you're going to have then is you're going to have all these tanks you're stuck behind with no easy way to get around them, and then Gambit and Morgan Le Fay are just going to chew you up. So making sure that you address the tank situation and the revive situation is important. Again, you'll have ways to stun and ability block, so you have ways to knock on Gambit and make sure that he can't get rolling and ping the hell out of you. Moving on. Nowhere Sinister 6. Again, this is a pretty straightforward matchup. You just want to make sure you lock down your Mr. Negatives so they don't confuse and spawn you into making you attack each other, and you don't have a ton of minions to deal with. Same thing, again, we've got Ghost Riders, so making sure you knock them out kind of early so that they're not constantly pinging you if you kill Mr. Negative minions is important. And then just kind of lastly, watch out for Taskmaster. Again, he has a blind and an ability block, so just making sure you're staying on top of him is going to be important to making sure you get through with max efficiency. Back to Mystic Villains. This one was what almost broke me. This was actually the node that forced me to upgrade most of those characters to 75. The Quicksilver Emma combo is rough, especially because Quicksilver is going to call in a Scarlet Witch to heal the team. The tricky part, you have a lot of revives on these nodes, right? You have the revives from Dark Beast, you have the revive from Minerva, you have the turn meter slowdown from Emma Frost, so making sure that you kind of clump up these characters and take them out efficiently is going to be super useful. Once these are out and Minerva's out, the Horsemen don't actually hit as hard as you think they would. It's just more about controlling their abilities, making sure you're applying ability blocks, stuns, making sure that, if you kill Archangel as the first Deathseed character, but you leave Dark Beast will just revive the Archangel, right? So making sure that you're locking those down is important. Once you get to the second half, the Magneto is super squishy, so you're just really watching out for Icarus. Once Icarus is out of the way, your Magneto's controlled. This is where you could slow roll if you needed to. But again, you don't need to use this team again, so smash hard. If you lose 1 or 2 units, as long as you get through it and they're not on one of your other teams, which we don't have really any overlap, not a lot to worry about, okay? Back to Global Controllers. This one only sucks if you have the Brawn and the She-Hulk end up spawning in close to Red Hulk. If that happens to you, I would recommend resetting the node. All you're worried about here, in the first wave, you lock down Echo, you smash everybody else, because you don't want Echo putting dodges on everybody, right? That's the important part. You're trying to not let Echo dodge you out of existence. This first wave, super squishy. The problem comes in when you get Brawn and She-Hulk. If Brawn and She-Hulk spawn in and Red Hulk, and they're all next to each other, you're going to proc Red Hulk's ult very quickly. It's going to be very painful. Now, if you take these two out ASA GDMFP, what allows you to happen then is even if Red Hulk pops his ult on you, they're not going to be able to heal him. They're not going to be able to throw those debuffs back on you. So you can just kind of take your time, manipulate Red Hulk, kill off the rest of them. And mine ended up being a 2v1, but we got through it and we were able to kill Red Hulk last and win. And again, as long as you make it through the node, I think I lost a total of 5 or 6 Toons, you're still going to hit over a 500k run score. It's mostly about turn efficiency. So don't let the losing 1 or 2 units scare you here at the end. As long as you get through it, you're going to be fine. Brawlers, this was embarrassingly easy. This, I don't really think there's much to talk about here. Obviously you want to take out Captain Carter so she doesn't revive people and so she doesn't heal. Same thing with Nick Fury. Once those two are off the board, it's really just taking your time and making sure that Squirrel Girl and Kate Bishop don't pop off on you, right? Because you don't want her healing, her blinding, her inability blocking. That could be bad. So, right, just make sure you take your time, push through, do efficiency, you'll have no problem. Finally, the last Sinister Six now. Now, this is where things for that team get a little bit tricky, and it's going to sound really silly, but when it starts, you're going to have 2 Nebulas, Gamora, Cosmo, and Nova. I tried this a few different ways. The Cosmos will really screw with you as you play because they can cleanse all the buffs off your team, and as you know at this point by playing Sinister Six, they need those buffs. They're a very buff-heavy team. So what I did, I slow rolled the first part, and I just went for Nova. I made him use up all his charges. He used his special. He used his ult. He put the battlefield effect out there. But I was able to kill him before any of these other Toons. And what I was able to do, I killed him. I killed Cosmo. Wiped the rest. It spawns in this gang right here. Sometimes, depending on how many you've killed, you'll get Kang. Sometimes you have to kill 1 or 2 more. Once you get these to spawn, again, you got to watch out for that Minerva, because if Minerva pops or revive, you're going to get Nova back. It's the first character that was killed. So make sure you take out Minerva, lock down Kang. Once you've done that, patience, and you're home free. But again, just watch out for the Cosmos. But at this point in the game, we know what to do, right? Lock down your Gambit, lock down your Minerva and Kang, wipe out everybody else, make sure you're getting through it. So I saved this for y'all. We're going to go claim our rewards so you can see all the milestones. I know in the past, if you've watched prior videos, sometimes I've already claimed the character. So you're just seeing this tier 4 milestone and people are going, whoa, what the hell? You need 600,000 points just for 50 shards. So I just wanted to take a moment to show you. There are 3 milestones leading up to 500k. That'll get you 110 shards of Black Cat and all these other resources to level her up. And you'll be in great shape. So let's go ahead and pull her. Yeah, Black Cat. All right. So, with this in mind, friends, things that you're going to want to know. Black Cat, a big part of her kit that makes her useful in all kinds of different game modes is she can steal revive once off of opposing players. It works in the new Cosmic Crucible room in Season 8. It works on Dormammu revives. It works on other special condition revive onces. She steals revives. It's her bread and butter in the arena. So making sure that you have Black Cat as part of your roster is huge. Also, the Secret Defenders and APOC are great counters for Cosmic Crucible, for War, for Arena. She's really a do-it-all kind of character. So make sure you get yourself Black Cat. Make sure you use these tips to make your life easier. Don't struggle for this like weeks like I did trying to min-max it. Take this advice, take it to the bank, get in there, get your Black Cat as soon as humanly possible. Alright friends, that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you all had fun. If you found this video useful, please consider leaving it a like. It really helps with the algorithm getting this information out there so that new and returning players have a much easier time unlocking these Toons. If you really like the content, please make sure you subscribe. It's free for you. It helps out the channel, and it makes sure you stay informed on all the new content coming up throughout the weeks. We are starting to get a bit more active. Once we get through one more min-max guide, we're going to blow up. We're going to be having a Dark Dimension 3, Dark Dimension 4, You know, we're going to have all kinds of new content coming to the channel. This has just been a pet project, and all we've got left is Green Goblin Classics. So keep your eyes peeled for that video. Hopefully, it'll come out over the weekend. And last but not least, if you have fun and you want to see more of me, please follow us over on Twitch. It's also just at Row of Gilead. We stream Tuesdays through Fridays from about 8 a.m. to about 11 a.m. Just depends on the day. Sometimes we got to work and go in earlier. But as always, friends, thank you again for watching the video. Long days and pleasant nights, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.